only for me to make sure that you're consenting. And now we are live. Well, we're recording. We do have the ability to go live on YouTube at the same time. I just don't have that configured yet. But by the way, this is a podcast called Leftist Lens, where we come here on the weekly and dissect things that are important to us and relevant and entertaining to us. And I'm James in this configuration.
And I'm Matt.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm okay, James. I'm okay today, but I have been struggling this week, which is number one on our outline. Mental health matters.
Let's hear about it.
Just want to tell everybody that's listening, you can call or text 988 if you need to talk to someone. If you're struggling, it's okay to reach out and talk to someone. You should do it. What's going on with me is I went on vacation a couple weeks ago, and I had a great time, an absolute great time. And when I returned from said vacation, I realized how shitty my real life is compared to that vacation. And it led me into a pretty deep depression that I've been struggling with, but I'm working through it. I have a counselor. I moved up my appointment so I could talk about it, and I'll get through it, and you can too. But if you need help, call 988 or text.
And this is the thing about the relationships that we have that are separated by miles and miles of distance. I'm using you and me in this example. There's no way I would have known. I would have probably been able to pick up on physical cues and things like that if we were in proximity. But the fact that we're not, there's nothing there that I would have, known to reach out or say something. And that brings me to the next point, just in terms of, and I don't want to have to make this gender specific, but the idea that men are allowed to struggle, that men are allowed to feel anything other than useful to someone else is a relatively new thing. And it is not an easy thing to do. And so what I find for myself is that when I am struggling, when I am slipping into that darkness, by default, I do not reach out. I do not make it known that I am not okay.
That's what we learned. That's what we were taught.
Yeah.
And that was wrong. We shouldn't have been taught that by our boomer and silent generation parents, but we were.
Well, I also think that if someone were in proximity to me and noticed that I was going through something and they would ask, hey, is everything okay? My default response would probably be, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm not going to own it, when in fact I'm screaming on the inside for please notice, please identify it so that I don't have to and drag it out of me. But that's unrealistic. It's not an option. It's not other people's responsibility to inquire as to the status of my mental health. So it is incumbent upon me to reach out when I am failing in that regard, and I am woefully inadequate in that respect.
I say this a lot on TikTok comments and Twitter comments. I say everyone should have a therapist, and I truly believe that. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not suffering like many people are with mental health problems, it doesn't hurt to have someone you talk to from time to time that's a professional that you can just explain your minor struggles with, even if they're minor, right? Or if they're major, they're there to help you with that.
Yeah, I agree. I
don't think it's a bad idea.
Well, but the obstacle to that brings us to something we talk about frequently, is the fact that many people don't have access to that type of, that's a healthcare service.
In America.
Fuck. Do not have access to those types of services.
Healthcare should be free. Mental health care should be free too.
I agree. And the fact that it isn't, I mean, I think about this every time that I get into discussions with somebody about issues around mental health and physical health too, and things that just need medical attention. And I recognize that it comes from a certain place of privilege for me to be able to say, I think everyone should have a counselor. Everyone should have a therapist. And I know that there are people that is simply not an option for. There's no access to it. And so I feel horrible when and this is part of, I was raised Catholic, and the Catholic guilt permeates everything. But I feel a tremendous.
Is that what's wrong with both of us? I was raised Catholic too.
There's nothing good that comes from being raised Catholic. Jesus Christ. I feel a tremendous sense of guilt when I realize that all I have to do is pick up the phone and schedule an appointment to have access to things that other people don't have access to, and they will suffer with on their own. I feel guilt about that, and I hate that reality, but I don't know.
Did you do confirmation?
Oh, of course.
What was your confirmation name?
Peter.
I was Damien.
Oh my God. Were you trying to be contrary on purpose?
Hell yes, I was.
Okay. So you were not.
My uncle came in from 4 hours away. Actually, he was from where I live now, but not where I lived at the time I made my confirmation. He came in to be my sponsor or whatever they call them. The other Catholic that has to sponsor you on your confirmation. Yes. And he was like, "Why are you Damien?" I was like, "I don't know. It's like a demonic name, isn't it?" But there was a Saint Damien, so I was allowed to pick it, and that's what I did. I don't know how old I was at the time, 15 or 16.
Yeah, that's about the age that we did that.
But I could not wait to make my confirmation because I had read the Bible at that point from cover to cover, and that's what made me an atheist.
Yep.
And I had read it at that point, and I could not wait to make my confirmation because it was explained to me that confirmation meant you are now responsible to make your decision whether you want to belong to the church or not. And my decision was I did not, and I could not wait to make that decision for myself.
Yeah, the Bible is an instruction manual for becoming an atheist, as far as I'm concerned. There's no better testimony to how and why somebody should be using critical thinking and disavow all the woo-woo and dogma that comes with it than the Bible is.
No. If you read the Bible from cover to cover and you believe God is real, you should believe that he's a fucking asshole. That's what I have to say about that.
And if you can rationalize and justify that and continue your dogmatic practices with all that information and with that, then you should be getting mental health help, as we were referring to in the beginning here. Because it's not a mindset that is conducive with things like empathy and humanity and so many other things.
Well, anyway, this is not an atheist podcast, but although I am an atheist, and I think you are too, James.
I am too. Yeah.
But that's not what the focus of this is supposed to be. But here we are. So let's move on.
Speaking of mental health, the Democratic National Convention wrapped up this past week, and I didn't watch any of it other than the clips and bits and sound bites that I saw through other sources afterward. But
me too. I didn't watch it, but I watched clips, and I watched enough that I think I know what went on. And I'm gonna talk about it, I will talk about the good parts and the bad parts.
Well, I want to point out, first of all, that both the Republican convention and the Democratic convention is a display of opulence and affluence. The money that is there, the wealth that is represented, people like you and I are not represented in that event for either party. But they will use their demagoguery to convince you that you are one of them and they are one of you, and
although that's mostly true, to be a delegate, you don't have to be wealthy. It depends on your locality how you become a delegate.
Well, but aren't some of these delegates in that position as
the super delegates are? The super delegates are there because they're rich, 100%.
Right.
But the average delegate, so there's delegates and there's super delegates, and the only difference is they have the same vote at the convention. But how you become a super delegate is you give a bunch of money to the party, and you get to be a super delegate.
Utterly disgusting.
But the actual delegates, they get decided based on local politics. So if you're involved in local politics, I mean, a lot of times it is still money, but it doesn't have to be. It depends on your locality.
Right. Nobody would
There were
ever.
absolutely delegates there that were not moneyed. There
Okay.
absolutely were.
Okay.
But the vast majority are. Unfortunately, you're correct there.
Nobody. If I got involved in local politics, given my political leanings, nobody would ever ask me to be a delegate.
There is that.
Until the Socialist Party of Florida gets a real foothold and is represented in political organizations, that's the only organization that would ever consider allowing me through the door. And that's,
yeah, you know how like libertarians run as Republicans.
Oof.
Libertarians and Republicans don't actually share ideology. Libertarians and Republican ideology is both terrible, but they don't actually share it. But libertarians like Ron Paul run as Republicans because their ideology is closer to that, and that's how they think they can get elected.
Well, yeah,
Socialists
and
do not run as Democrats.
Because that's where the numbers are that they can surround themselves with.
Right.
And,
But socialists don't run as Democrats, even though their ideology is just as related, right?
Well,
but socialists don't run as Democrats. You don't see that, except for Bernie Sanders, Democratic Socialists. He was not a Democrat, though, for a long time. He was an independent when he was governor of Vermont.
Right.
He became a Democrat to get the money to run for Senate. And I mean, that's unfortunate. That just goes into that two-party system that we like to complain about.
Well, and I think if the Socialist Party, the actual Socialist Party for the United States, actually decided to lump themselves in with Democrats, that would be a disservice to what the real problem is. And the problem is the two-party system. And the Socialist Party needs to become a viable contender and, an option for people. And unfortunately, because I get emails all the time from the Karina and fuck me, what is God, hang on a second. Let me pull up one of these emails. Come on now. Come on. No dead air on this podcast.
Oh, there's dead air all the time.
Well,
it is what it is. By the way, if you're listening to our podcast on one of the podcast apps, leave us a review. 5-star review, please.
Do you have a list of what those podcast apps are that you're pushing us up to?
A list, no, but I know it's on iHeart, it's on Apple Podcasts, it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Amazon Podcasts. I know those.
Yep. And good on you for taking
many
that
others.
on. Yeah, because you did that all on your own. I haven't helped with that at all.
Actually, Acast did that. I just signed up for Acast, and they do that. It's one button. I upload one file, and I just say put it on them all, and it does.
So back to the socialist point, Claudia de la Cruz is the candidate for the Socialist Party, and I've been behind her since she announced her candidacy in this process. And I've come to terms with the fact that this isn't going to sway the election, but she speaks to just about every issue that I align with. So it doesn't make me a single issue voter, by the way. So that's the thing. I'm not a single issue voter. There's a long list of things that the Socialist Party represents in terms of ideology and plans for domestic and world policy with relation to the United States and so forth that make a lot of sense to me. And that's why I align with them. And they are in no way leaning toward, because if you look at the platform of the Socialist Party for the United States, it basically starts with end capitalism before it ends us. That's their initial tagline, and then you go into their platform from there. You couldn't be more different from the Democrats if you tried.
Right.
The Republican Party and the Democratic Party have more in common than the Democratic Party and the Socialist Party have. And I'm thankful for that. But
no doubt. I want socialism. Let me be clear. I do. I don't think it's realistic to get that in the next election.
No, it's not.
So in the next election, what I want is the Democratic Party to move left, because it's been moving right since Roosevelt, and it's essentially what Republicans were in 1950 right now. And I want it to move back left.
Yeah, the Democrats are centrist at this point, and they are centrist leaning right.
Correct.
And people don't understand this. This is the sort of bottom of the barrel stuff that I see all across social media, not just social media, but in bona fide journalism. I see Kamala Harris as being labeled as a communist.
Oh my God.
What the fuck are you talking about? And you can't even get these people to define what they're talking about when they use the word communism or socialism.
There's nothing socialist or communist about her. Nothing
oh my God.
Nothing.
If there was, I would be having her face tattooed on my chest and walk around shirtless all day long. But that's simply as far from the truth as anything can be. However,
what?
Well, you know.
Okay.
Did I overshare? I'd have to shave my chest first for it to be tattooed like that, but I'm willing to consider the possibilities. But in her dog and pony show at the DNC convention this past week, she definitely didn't even come across as anything close to a socialist or a communist.
No, that's just what Trump says. But I do want to say, I've seen on social media the roll call of the states, right? The Republican convention and the Democratic convention, and how different they were. And I know the Democrats are trying to put this. They're trying to say joy. They're going to bring joy, right?
Okay.
And they showed them introducing the states. I'm telling you, it was something.
Yeah, I saw those.
Democrats did it, brought feelings of joy. It really did, and it made me feel like, oh, this is kind of cool, because they were happy, they were having fun. The Republicans were very methodical and very subdued and very dinosaur-y. You know, these are dinosaurs trying to pick who's going to ruin our lives for the next 4 years. And the Republicans were more like, oh, we're going to have fun. This is going to be great. You elect us. Everything's going to be great. And I mean, it was hard not to buy into it. It really was. Because it was fun. It really was. If you watch it, it's fun.
Yeah.
The Democrats were having fun. They made you feel fun when you were watching it.
Which is probably why they wanted no part of anyone representing the Palestinian community speaking officially at that convention.
100%. But you know what's disgusting to me? The Democrats know that there's a sizable fringe, and to them it's a fringe, but to us it's just normal people of their party that would normally vote for them, that care a lot about what Israel's doing in Palestine.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw, but they asked on day one to have the speaker, and the speaker was a pediatric surgeon. We talked about this last week. I don't have her name handy, but she was a pediatric surgeon who has worked in Gaza that was going to speak, that they wanted to speak. And they said no, but then the uncommitted delegates showed up, and they started talking to the other delegates and getting them to sign a petition to let her speak. And they got a bunch of signatures. The last update I saw was 500, which isn't that many compared to the 4,000 total delegates. But it was more than the 30 uncommitted delegates. I mean, the 30 uncommitted delegates got 500 delegates to sign on to this petition. And they said no. The Democrats said no. They asked the next day. They said no. Then they published the speech that was going to be given. And I don't know if it's on Mother Jones. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it is not an inflammatory speech at
Mhm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
It is the most Democrat-friendly speech that is anti-genocide that you could possibly write. It doesn't accuse anybody. It endorses Kamala Harris in it. Doesn't accuse anybody of anything. And just says, hey, please think of these people. Basically.
Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan is the doctor you're referring to.
Thank you.
AIPAC was never going to allow anything like this to happen in that convention.
The fact that they published the speech and you can see how innocuous it is,
mm-hmm.
and the Democrats still said no.
Yep.
Just tells me all I need to know about the Democrats. And I'm telling you, I've said in the past weeks I was probably going to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm telling you that chance went way down after this convention, because not even listening, she said, I'm speaking now. We talked about that last week. I'm speaking now. If you want Trump to win, keep saying that, but I'm speaking now. That was a problem, but she kind of fixed that the next week. But then this happens and they won't even listen. And I don't know if you've seen the videos, but there were protesters outside the convention.
Oh, yeah.
That were reading the names of the dead children, the dead Palestinian children. They were just reading their names, not doing anything else, just reading their names. And Democrat delegates, while leaving the arena, were making fun of them. There are videos of this.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I saw that.
It's disgusting.
It really is.
And all I can think is the Democrats are just as evil.
Do you think this is going totally hypothetical at this point? Do you think that if in the convention, the Democratic Party had decided enough is enough, we are going to stand opposed to Israel's occupation of Palestine, we are going to stand opposed to Israel's slaughter and genocide in Gaza, and we are going to stand in support of the Palestinians? Do you think if the DNC made that their platform overnight, that they would lose Democrat voters?
No. And if they let that doctor speak, they would not have lost a single voter, but they would have gained thousands. And they chose not to do it. And I don't understand it. And I'm telling you, this is part of the reason I've had a problem this week. That was my hope. My hope was that the Palestinian issue was going to move the Democratic Party a little bit to the left, and it clearly did not. And I feel like when I go to the polls in November, I'm voting for fascist 1 or fascist 2. I don't feel like there's someone for me to vote for. Yeah,
I agree with you.
And that's depressing. That is really depressing. I want the Democratic Party to at least be a beacon of hope for me, and they're not.
I want a party to be taken seriously that could represent enough of what's important to me. And by the way, when I say what's important to me, I'm not talking about my own self-interest. I'm talking about the things that I believe are right and that are just, that need representation in the government, that may have nothing whatsoever to do with me personally. But I want a party that represents those things, and it isn't crazy things.
We've talked about this before, James. We are white men. If Trump wins, we're not going to suffer that much,
right? And that's not a motivating factor to me to keep me from suffering.
We care about the others. That's what not enough people do.
Well, it's a personality trait that Democrats and Republicans both lack, and it's called empathy. And there are far too many people on both sides that lack the ability to.
They have empathy. The Democrats have empathy for women, and I do too. And the Democrats have empathy for the LGBTQ community mostly. I say mostly because I think there are a lot of Democrats that don't. And I do too. But they don't seem to care about brown people.
It's true.
The Democrats don't, and the Republicans don't. And I see black Democrats. I mean, Kamala Harris is black, despite what Trump says. She is, and I see plenty of black Democrats supporting her, but I see plenty of others questioning some things she's done.
Yeah.
But even black Americans don't seem to care about Palestinians as much as I would like them to.
Yeah, it's interesting when I see the organized groups of people that are speaking in support of the Palestinian cause. I'm gonna avoid commenting on that because I want to take a closer look at that. But it always feels like it's more white people than people of any other color. And saying that, I do acknowledge like the Native Americans that I know that are speaking in support of the Palestinian cause, because it so closely matches the cause that they've fought for generations for themselves. But it's the Democratic Party is not the savior of the Palestinian people. It's not going to be. It's not designed to be. It's barely any different, if different at all, from the Republican Party in terms of what the future holds for the Palestinians. And people will say, "Well, don't you know what Trump's going to do when he gets in there? He's going to finish the job. He's going to give Israel the whatever to do, continue to do whatever that they're doing to the Palestinians." And that's no different from what Biden's doing with his weapons shipments on the daily.
I have a Palestinian-owned business, Palestinian American owned business. It's 1 block away from me. It's a coffee shop. I go there. I was there today.
Mm-hmm.
And Khalid is the owner. He's magnanimous. He's a wonderful person. He's young. He's taken a risk started a coffee shop that didn't exist 6 months ago. It's relatively new. I like going there.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. I'm gonna work for him on the weekends when they're busy and I have nothing else going on. Just help him out because he's not making money, but I like him. I was there today and I was talking to the barista that was working, who's from India.
Mm-hmm.
And she and I were talking, and we were talking about this very thing about, well, I don't know if this is this very thing, but we were talking about borders and how borders are stupid.
Yeah.
This is what she and I agreed on. Borders are stupid. My argument was Canadian geese. I don't like Canadian geese. I live in Pennsylvania. We have Canadian geese that come down here. Canadian geese are a protected species in Canada. They come down here to America and they shit on everything and they suck. They're aggressive. I hate them.
Yep.
But Canadians revere them. But anyway, the Canadian geese don't have to stop at Border Patrol. They just come here when they want to.
Yeah. No,
people
borders
should be able to do that too.
Borders are a human construct that serve nothing other than isolationism and making us separate from each other.
I don't know. I know Republicans sometimes say globalists, and when they say that they mean Jews usually. That's what I've been told. But I don't know what globalist really means, but I feel like I'm a globalist. I feel like we, the people, the working people of the globe, can get along just fine. And we should be running things. It's the rich assholes we put in power in each individual country that cause all the problems.
Yeah, but it's been a position of the Republican Party since way back. You probably I don't know if you recognize this name, Pat Buchanan.
Oh, Pat Buchanan, man.
Yeah, he was as
old as you, brother.
He's a pronounced isolationist, and that aligns very closely with the whole America First bullshit, which is the heart of the Republican Party and has been for the last 8 to 10 years. But the idea of isolationism against globalism for the United States is the chosen path for the Republican Party. Now, when you start talking about borders and the difference between the right wing and the left perception of borders and things like this, take into consideration the European Union, because look at the components in the UK that are opposed to the Brexit folks and who they are and who they most closely match in the United States, it's the Republican Party.
Right.
The isolationism is not something that is unique to the United States, but it is definitely a component of right-wing ideology that loves that idea that closed borders and immigrants are a disease and they need to be eradicated, and it's the very same thing with
Hitler stuff.
Exactly.
All right, we went off topic a little bit, but I want to talk about Gus Waltz because we railed on the Democrats for a while.
I do too.
But I want to talk about Gus Waltz because I watched that part where he was proud of his dad and he was moved to tears and he said, "That's my dad."
Mm-hmm.
And when I was watching that, I had no inkling whatsoever that he had special needs. None.
No, neither did I.
I thought that was a kid that was proud of his dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I want to make my kids that proud of me.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yep. And the first
turns out I don't really understand this, but it turns out there's an excuse almost for him behaving that way, which I don't understand that he needed one, but they made one anyway, that he has some kind of, I don't know if he's autistic. I've seen that he's autistic, but I've also seen that's not true. And then I've seen that the only thing I've seen universally is that he has a nonverbal learning disability, which I don't know what that is.
Okay.
And so I don't know, but I don't think you need, I don't get that. I don't think you need an excuse to be proud of your dad like that.
No, and I don't know I don't know who put that information out there or what the motive was for it, other than responding to people like Ann Coulter and people on the right who cringed at the image of a boy being proud of his father, and then immediately accused Waltz of using his son's learning disability as some sort of sympathy card, which to me, that accusation is disgusting. That child is his son, and his son was proud of him. It has nothing to do with all these.
That's all I saw.
Yeah.
I saw a kid that was proud of his dad.
Yeah.
A teenage kid that was proud of his dad. That's all I saw. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was moving.
And Republicans are upset about it because they've never had their children be proud of them. They've never had their children moved to tears for something incredible that their father accomplished, and they also they miss that in their lives, so that's why they were upset about it. And
right.
I have no,
so that whole situation I don't get, but
it gave the Republicans another opportunity to display what disgusting people they are.
But Gus Waltz, you're a good dude.
He's a good kid.
You're a good kid. Keep going.
So RFK has
what the fuck?
He withdrew. Well, I mean, we knew he wasn't going to go very far in this. He went as far as he could. But the what the fuck part, is that his endorsement of Trump?
I don't know. There's so many what the fucks with him. There's the bear story. That's a what the fuck. Because we didn't talk about that, but he found a dead bear and was like, I'm going to bring this in my car to impress my friends. And then like something else happened, so he didn't have time. So he staged a scene at Central Park where the bear got hit by a bike.
What? I heard that he dumped the bear in Central Park. I didn't realize
he dumped the bear in Central Park, but he also dumped a bike along with the bear and staged it to look like the bike killed the bear.
Would that even be possible? Is what I'm.
I don't know, but the thing is, he did this in his 60s, man. It wasn't like he was a young dumb kid.
I thought it was when he was
years
younger.
ago.
Oh my God.
This guy is insane.
He really is. I mean, he is
insane.
He's a known weirdo to begin with. All of his positions on, he's anti-vax, and he's more closely aligned with QAnon than.
All right. I gotta say, I watched the thing where he came out to Trump's thing in Wisconsin, I think it was. Everything he said, everything RFK Jr. said, I believe in. And I'm saying that with certainty.
Such as?
He talked about having a safe food supply. He talked about getting rid of healthcare and getting rid of childhood obesity and childhood problems, right? With health problems.
Okay.
Everything he talked about. I'm like, yeah, I agree with all that. And the problem is he thinks Trump's going to do all that shit. Trump's not doing any of that shit. The other thing that I found striking is that when Trump was introducing him before RFK Jr. spoke, Trump mentioned, if you elect me, I will get, because I got shot at a few weeks ago, which I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm starting to question that happened. We said when the day that happened, I said that happened, but I'm starting to question that happened. But I don't want to, that's not for now. But he said, I'm going to start a commission that'll investigate assassinations. And we're going to get to the bottom of my assassination attempt and JFK. Well, RFK's dad was literally assassinated while running for president, and he never mentioned him once. While RFK was standing there right next to him on stage. And that was jarring to me. Like, I didn't see anyone else talk about that. But yeah, RFK was assassinated too. Donald, you fucking moron. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. And he's also only taking his name off the ballots in battleground states. He's going to leave his name on the ballot in red states to hope that the third party gets enough votes to get funding in the next election or some shit.
I heard that he had missed the deadline in some of those states to have his name removed from the ballot.
I have no idea.
Okay. So it could be a willful choice to try to manipulate something, or he did in fact miss the deadline. We don't know. We will look that up.
So you wrote in the thing, his wife is Cheryl Hines. I don't know what CYE is.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, okay.
I
do know who Cheryl Hines is. I've never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I do know what that is too. That's the Larry David.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that she was married to him until I saw that tweet.
I didn't either until she was defending him for doing the dumb shit he's done lately.
Well, but her tweet said, my husband today has made the decision to suspend his presidency. And I want to thank everybody for their support, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, suspend his presidency? What the fuck are you talking about? And she got absolutely roasted for it.
Well, she should.
Well, but people are also calling her out. If you don't, and then the fact that he threw his weight behind Trump, if you don't speak out, you're going to be known as somebody who supported Trump. And I guess she hasn't been that person up to now, but if she's going to stay silent, she's going to be the person supporting Trump. And I don't know how good that's going to go over for her career. I think it's probably going to be very bad for her
that'll be bad for her career
to have that as her legacy. So
look, I gotta say, Trump's not going to win.
No, I think he's going to lose. He's
not going to win. It doesn't matter how much we don't really love Kamala. She's going to win.
I believe you.
She's going to be our president. And I do want to say, I think it's better her than him. But I'd rather it be someone else.
I agree with you on all those points. And I'm going to go back to 2016 because I remember very clearly the night of that election. I stayed up till about 10:30 and things were still up in the air. And my wife at that time stayed up and watched the whole thing. I had to get up for work in the morning, but I got up the next morning and I'm sitting in the bathroom that's attached to the master bedroom. And I got my phone in there with me as I'm taking my morning shit. And I flipped to the Google News feed and I kick the bathroom door open from my sitting position and yell, "He fucking won." Because I didn't have the feeling that Hillary had a lock on anything at that point. Now, if the election was tomorrow, I believe it would be a slam dunk for Harris. That being said, I don't see any way that Harris loses momentum and Trump gains momentum. Trump is starting to say some profoundly stupid things and look like a complete unprepared moron. More and more as we get closer to the election, he's coming rapidly unglued, and maybe he'll suffer an aneurysm or something before the election. But I don't think Trump's going to win. I think Harris is going to have him beat pretty soundly, but the Republican Party is going to unleash all of their lawsuits, and they're going to muddle this to holy hell, to try to do whatever they think they're going to do. But then I think the worst part of it is that the minions of the Republican Party, the foot soldiers, are going to be rallied to do stupid shit, and we will see what that looks like. But
we'll see violence. It's very possible.
It's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be problematic. And I don't see that first week in November as holding too much to be proud of in that moment. But we'll see. But I agree with you that Harris is going to win at this point. And again, I wish it was somebody else. I wish it was another party. And I don't think in my lifetime I'm ever going to get to see that. But oh well.
Well, that's what we're fighting for, bud.
I believe you. Yep. Anyway, let's move on to stuff that you have.
Corporate America?
Well, yeah.
All right. As much as I hate Elon Musk, at least he built space-worthy spacecraft.
Yeah.
Because
Boeing, I think, well, was it last week or the week before that I had made mention, why the hell don't they just get a Dragon capsule up there and send that Boeing Starliner or whatever it is back empty? And that's exactly what they're going to do, but not till
February. Not till February.
That's a long fucking time.
These guys thought they were going up there for 8 days, and it's going to be 8 months.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure they're not really complaining.
No, they made them part of the ISS crew. They're actually, this is crazy. They're shipping, one of them found a uniform that he can, or a spacesuit that he can wear that's already up there, and they're flying up another one for the other guy that'll
fill him. Yeah, because
so they can be part of the crew.
Well,
part of the ISS crew.
No. It's because the spacesuits that Boeing made for their Starliner are incompatible with SpaceX's Dragon capsule. And Dragon's and Dragon spacesuits don't work in the Boeing capsule. That to me is something that NASA should probably be looking at. That no matter who
all
makes
I know is spacecraft worked better when NASA was fully funded. I don't know why we brought corporations into it. But they did. And I would like to point out that it was Obama who did this.
Yeah, I know. He killed the lunar lander program, and gutted.
It was Obama who decided to privatize the space industry. Just saying. To you Democrats out there.
Well, I think it was a decision that was probably in line with how because NASA is basically a branch of the military, and the military has been privatized heavily over the last 20 years, 25 years.
No, the military is not privatized. It's private industry that creates the stuff for the industry, but it's absolutely
no. I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that the military is privatized, but the military uses private industry as direct contractors.
Well, yeah, that's always been a thing, and that was the thing for NASA. I mean, the government didn't make the Saturn rocket. They contracted businesses to make it, but they were running the show.
Right.
And now they're not. They're letting private industry run the show, and NASA is just buying their spacecraft, I guess.
Well, it's the thing. I guess the thing that's odd to me is that they have multiple companies, United Launch Alliance, Boeing, SpaceX, and Blue Origin, all working on NASA contracts to transport people. But why wouldn't they have some basic parameters for, like, the connections that the fucking spacesuits use to connect to any capsule should be universal? Why? And I
don't know. I have an iPhone. I have a different connector charger for my phone than you do.
Well, yeah, but you're not going into orbit, and your life's not depending on.
That's capitalism, man. That's what happens when you put capitalism into things. You get different shit.
I know.
Competition.
I just think NASA dropped the ball in terms of how they were.
Just to be clear, I'm anti-capitalist, and I think you are too.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So, when we say these things, we're saying capitalism's bad.
Clearly,
because it causes these things.
Yep. So I'm not familiar with the Starbucks CEO. That's our next line item.
Okay, so on social media, you probably did see the Chipotle CEO, and we may have even talked about this on our podcast. I don't remember. This would have been several months ago. When people were complaining about portion sizes at Chipotle, and their CEO went on to a news program and was like, "Yeah, you just make this little face at the person making your burrito, and they'll give you more." Do you remember that at all?
No, I was never aware of that.
Okay, well, this CEO did that, got lambasted for it, and now Starbucks has hired him away from Chipotle, so now he's at Starbucks.
So was he saying that there was a secret code that customers should use, a high sign or a hand
No,
signal?
it was a face. He made a face. You got to Google it, man. In fact, you got to put this in our YouTube version of this show. You got to find it. Yes, this guy did that. He's like, "Oh, you just look at the person making your burrito and just kind of go, and he made like this face. He's like, and they'll give you more." But
okay, yeah, I see it now.
So that guy is now the CEO at Starbucks, and the previous CEO at Starbucks got fired. Now, I don't know why he got fired. But he did publicly state that he doesn't work past 6 p.m. And people are saying that may have had something to do with his firing. I doubt it did. It was probably something else. But I don't know. I saw this podcast it was on TikTok, but it was these two guys on a podcast that they put on TikTok, not us, talking about this issue. And this was not the Chipotle guy coming over to Starbucks, but the original Starbucks guy saying he doesn't work past 6 p.m. And they were making fun of him. This is when he was still the CEO. And my comment on there, he's like, "I don't understand what's wrong with you. You got to work. You got to work. You got to work." And the comments did pass the vibe check. It was all these people talking about, "No, I don't work past 6 p.m. either. And if you want me to, you got to pay me more," and stuff like that. And my comment was, the work has shifted, because they said the work culture in America has shifted away from working hard. And I said, no, the work culture in America has shifted away from making douchebags rich. And it needs to shift more, because it hasn't shifted enough.
Well, that's in line with that quiet quitting trend that was talked about a year or so ago, and I think it came about as a result of the pandemic ending, and companies that were doing work from home schedules, remote work, were reversing those things for no reason other than, their own greed.
Control.
And control. So yeah, it's in line with that. But Starbucks, I've seen reports go both ways about Starbucks' financial health as a result of the boycotts regarding Gaza. That Starbucks suffered for that. That there was an impact, a negative impact on Starbucks, their bottom line, based on the protests against Starbucks. And I wonder if that had anything to do with their CEO being let go, because I don't think
the local downtown Starbucks here in Erie went out of business.
We're building 2 new Starbucks in the town I live in. I don't know why. I know one.
You probably live in a suburb. They're popular in the suburbs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I live downtown, baby.
Okay.
The Starbucks here went out of business, and now, no, it's not actually Starbucks. The Irish bar next door to the Starbucks also went out of business, and the Irish bar is now home to a Thai restaurant where the wait staff are robots.
No, for real?
For real. I haven't been there yet. I've only read about it. But yeah, apparently you can order from kiosks, and the robots will just bring your food to go. Or you can sit down at a table, and a robot will come take your order, and they'll converse with you and make jokes and ask you how your day was and everything. That's what the article said that I read about it.
That's crazy. I want to go there.
I haven't gone yet, but I want to, because that sounds awesome to me. But yeah, apparently the owner is in the back cooking, and then it's a woman. She just has the robots doing all the menial tasks, I guess.
Yeah, I see the article on 6 ABC Philadelphia. They are not they're not very approachable looking robots. It's kind of scary.
Okay, I don't live in Philadelphia, brother. Opposite quarter of the state.
Well, but they're the ones reporting on it. They have a story on it. Robot Captain Crabs. That's what they're calling.
I don't know. I think it's cool, and I want to go there, but I haven't yet.
I want to go too.
But someday I will. All right, so yeah, so you got to work late if you want to be a billionaire, I guess. But do billionaires really work? Let's talk about that for a minute.
I don't think they do. I don't
either. They make decisions, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
this is like I do.
This comes back to a statement I made a long time ago, and I keep making it over and over again, that CEOs are irrelevant and they can be replaced by an algorithm.
They can. Absolutely, they can.
Algorithm doesn't require a $9 billion per year salary, so fuck CEOs.
Oh, and I didn't mention yet, but that guy, Brian Nichols, I think is his name. He's not moving to Seattle, even though he got hired as the CEO of Starbucks. He lives in Southern California, and he's just going to commute 3 days a week by private jet.
Wow. Okay.
For free. That Starbucks is going to pay for.
That's fucking crazy.
Think of that when you're buying your lattes.
Fucking crazy.
You're paying for that shit.
I've never bought a beverage at Starbucks. I have never been.
I have a weak spot, man. I love the salted caramel stuff that they do in late August, early September. There's like 6 weeks where they have salted caramel mochas, and I love those. And that's the only time I go there. Then I'll get 3 or 4 of those over the weeks that they're there, and then that's it. I'm bad.
I will pray for you.
I support capitalism, even though I don't want to.
So, continuing on the theme of billionaires, that Polaris Dawn mission launched already, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's en route to whatever Lagrange point it's going to with these civilians. I'm gonna make a bet here. They're not gonna survive. They're going to die. They are going to die, and it's going to be a horrible, horrible death. And
I mean, that might happen.
It's going to happen.
I wanted to push back on you a little because it's only one billionaire on there. The rest of them are just regular people, and they're scientists, and they are doing science.
Oh, they are? I thought they were. Yeah. I thought they were all paid actors. And
no, they're doing actual science. There's like 27 mission or science experiments they're going to conduct. Some of them are on humans in deep space, as it were. Not deep space, I guess, but
well, they are going further away from the Earth than any other person has gone.
Yeah, so they're gonna wear spacesuits and go outside of the capsule to see what happens.
Yeah, they're gonna measure they're gonna be in part of the Van Allen belt, and they're gonna measure the radiation that is.
And they're gonna see what happens to them. And they're doing other experiments. It's not completely frivolous, although there is a single billionaire on board. But it's not the same thing as the billionaires that ride the Amazon jet.
Oh, Virgin, the Virgin Atlantic.
Or the Virgin, there's the Virgin one, but there's an Amazon one. Jeff Bezos has one too.
Yeah, the Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, yeah. It's not that. They're doing real stuff.
Okay.
Even though they're not astronauts.
Well, if we can figure out a way for the billionaire to get sucked into the vacuum of space and the other guys can come home, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, well, speaking of that, okay, so I've got a small list of billionaires who have died playing with their toys. All right, so you are old enough to remember Steve Fossett. Now, maybe you can help me because I could not find. I remember Steve Fossett and someone else racing to be the first guy to circumnavigate the globe in a balloon.
Richard, the owner of Virgin Records.
Was it Richard Branson, really?
Richard Branson, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't find anything confirming that, but I remember that being a thing. The two of them were like in the media, like talking about it, like, oh, I'm going to do it first, and then they would fail. And then the other guy would be like, oh, now I'm going to do it, and then they would fail. Whatever. Steve Fossett was the one who eventually did it in 2002. But he died in a plane crash that he was piloting the plane. That's why I say it was billionaires into their toys. He was piloting the plane and he died in a plane crash because he wasn't that great of a pilot, probably. So yeah, then after Steve Fawcett, billionaire, died in a plane crash, I'm sure there were others. I'm going to be honest. I typed billionaire dies in Google and there were a ton from other countries, mostly.
Yeah.
But I was focusing on American billionaires in my search. But if there's one thing we don't do on this podcast is deep research. We won't do that until people start questioning us on stuff.
Yeah, so we'll make all kinds of claims, and not until we get taken to task are we going to back.
Yeah, so if you hear something we say and you disagree with it, please let us know. And then, then we'll do more thorough research. But yeah, if I look on something that's not on the first page, whatever. I don't have time for that because we both have real jobs. We're not making money off this podcast yet.
Yep.
There was a sub implosion a few years ago. That was like 2 years ago, right?
Oh yeah, everybody remembers that. Yep.
The sub implosion. And then just this week, there was a giant sailboat that sunk in Italy. Something interesting about that, Italian authorities are pursuing manslaughter charges, and they don't name. They say it's the actions of the crew that caused the sinking of the ship. Now, I have seen several people on TikTok that claim to be experts in sailboats saying that it was impossible for a waterspout to sink this ship, which is what the official explanation was. And I've seen several different people claiming that. Now, I see all kinds of shit. People claiming all kinds of shit. Didn't necessarily believe them because I don't know who they are.
All right.
But
there was footage.
One guy did say in particular that the only way this would happen is if portholes were open in the garage. Apparently there's a garage for the tender being the smaller boat that you take to shore. That there's a garage for it. And if that garage was open and if other portholes were open, then water could have got in and sunk it. And that must be what happened. And that seems like that's what the Italian authorities are looking at. So that'll be interesting in the weeks to come to see if there was some intention there.
So there were, from what I saw, there were like 14 people that survived, and
six or seven died.
I'm assuming some of those survivors were crew members.
Almost all of the crew members survived.
Okay.
That's what the dead people were all rich fucks. So that's what. I mean, I don't know, man, but I'm just saying. But the interesting conspiracy theory is that the owner of the yacht who died, he had just been acquitted for fraud. He sold his company for $11 billion to HP, I think. And HP sued him and his co-founder for inflating the value. They said the company is not worth the $11 billion we paid for it. And they sued. But the deceased won that lawsuit. And then, like, within a week, the one defendant gets hit by a car and dies, and the other one is on his yacht celebrating the victory in court, and their yacht sinks and they die.
Coincidence?
Just last week, I was arguing against you, saying that Boeing was murdering their whistleblowers. But now I'm saying, in a reverse of fortune, maybe there's something happening here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we can be hopeful. I don't know.
Coincidences do happen, though.
Yes, I'm completely opposed to whistleblowers being snuffed out by corporations. I'm not opposed to billionaires being snuffed out by their competition or anyone else for that matter. And I will get hate for that, but yes, it is what it is. But yeah, the Italian authorities are pursuing manslaughter charges, or they're doing an investigation. It'll be interesting to see where this winds up.
Did line 7 of our outline just appear? Because that all looks foreign to me.
No. I put that in about 30, 40 minutes before we went online. You want to talk about that now?
Well, that's where we are, isn't it?
Yep. So the Emmys, I can't remember the actual organization that is the Emmys, but it's the National TV and Movies Board or something. They had nominated Bison's documentary for under the category of hard cutting news or something in documentaries. And there were like 150 actors and actresses. Deborah Messing is one that comes to mind, who signed a petition to have that nomination removed. And the reason they want her nomination removed is because of her affiliation with, bring it up here, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the PFLP, which the United
States, in the outline, brother, that you wrote. You don't have to look it up.
I'm looking. I had the article. I had the article pulled up. That's what I was looking for. That has been designated by the United States government as a terrorist organization. It's an organization that is devoted to ending Zionism and ending the oppression of the Palestinian people and returning land to the Palestinian people that was unlawfully taken from them by the Israelis. And so there's this organization in Hollywood called the Center for Proliferation of Peace or something, which is an Israeli foundation that encourages actors and actresses to fight against anti-Israeli sentiment and build bridges to peace. That is laughable to me. That the idea that putting on full display with no video editing, with just the raw images of what Israelis are doing to Palestinian men, women, and children, is somehow conducive to a bridge to peace is insane to me.
That's what I forgot to mention back in the DNC section with Kamala Harris's remarks. She said that Hamas had to be punished for their the murder and sexual assaults they committed on October 7th. All of which, not all, but most of which have been debunked.
Yep. And she's still parroting that.
There are tons of evidence about Israeli sexual assaults on Palestinians.
Yeah. It's standard operating procedure.
That she just ignores, I guess. Yep, I don't know.
Absolutely. It's utterly disgusting that if in that the nomination for that particular category, she's the only person who deserves to win for that particular category for the content that she has in her documentary, which is able to be seen on YouTube and online freely.
So I saw a thing on TikTok today about a musical artist that it turns out I followed. I don't know why I followed her, but I saw a different person that I don't follow talking about her. I want to say her name's Nemesis. It's not.
Oh, Nemesis. Yeah. I know her.
She's a Palestinian musician.
Yep.
That lost her
contract
label on October 8th.
Yep.
Just for being Palestinian.
Yep.
Her musical label fired her.
Yep. I remember when that happened. I was watching.
I saw the TikTok for someone I don't follow talking about her, and I was like, oh, that's someone I want to follow. And then I clicked on the thing in the bottom, and I already followed her, and I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
But she probably made a political post at some point that I agreed with, so I followed her.
She did. She made a song that following week that was to bring awareness to the suffering of the Palestinian people, and it resulted in her being kicked from her label.
Well, that's probably why I followed her, but anyway.
Yeah.
Kudos to her.
Yeah, the fact, and I shouldn't be surprised about this, that the Israeli lobby is as thick as thieves within the entertainment industry. But I encourage people to look up the actors and actresses that signed the petition to have Bison's documentary removed from that nomination. And purge your life of everything that has to do with those 150 odd people and their work that they do in Hollywood, because they don't need your money, they don't need my money, and they certainly don't deserve it. Anyway,
I'm gonna have dead air for a second because I want to read those names.
oh, okay.
So I'm looking it up. Okay, I'm only gonna read the names I know. Deborah Messing, you already mentioned. Rebecca
fucking
DeMornay,
David Draymond from
Ben Silverman, Emmanuel Shriekery. Oh man,
you know who that is?
her.
Oh, okay.
She was in shit. What's that one? It was an HBO show that Marky Mark made. Entourage.
Oh yeah, okay.
She was in that. All right. Only reading the names I know. Most of these names I do not know.
Well, so I'm
Elma
reading...
Blair. I know that. David Burns, but that's not David Byrne. David Burns. Emmanuel Shikri. Rebecca DeMornay. Yeah,
Well,
say what you want to say, because I don't know most of these names, man.
The most recent piece of follow-up that I see on this is from 3 days ago, and it's on cbc.ca, a Canadian website. Says the Emmys are standing by their nomination of Bisson for that category. They're not withdrawing her name.
You're right.
She
I
remains.
did see that.
Yeah, she remains nominated as far as I can see. I don't know when are the Emmys. September 15th. So on September 15th, I have never watched the Emmys before, but I will be watching. And I know that this won't be a category that they televise, so there probably isn't any point in watching, because they do so many awards during the commercials that aren't televised for obscure things. Maybe they won't deem this to be obscure. Maybe they will put it live. I doubt it, but I'm definitely going to be watching to see if she wins that category, because she should.
Yeah, I think it'll be live. But to your point of not supporting any of those people on the list, I didn't know any of those people on that list, so that's going to be hard for people to do.
Well, one of them is David Draymond, the lead singer for Disturbed, which is a band that I've always liked. I no longer like them. So
I like their version of that Simon and Garfunkel song. I don't know anything else about them.
Yeah,
their version of that is good. I'm
gonna pirate their music and put it on USB sticks and leave it laying all over town so that nobody has to pay for it. Yeah. Anyway, everything sucks. Speaking of Hollywood and moving on to lighter topics in our you watched Tuesday. I watched that a couple weeks ago. What did you think of it?
So I watched it right after that. I've actually watched it weeks ago, right after you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was extremely interesting. It was also a little bit disturbing.
Yes.
But it was good. I liked it.
Mm.
I did like it. Yes, the sick girl talking to the bird that
represents death,
ushers you to the afterlife.
Yeah.
It was profound. It was good. I liked it. It dealt with death. It dealt with mother-daughter relationships.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never heard of it.
And this is one thing I credit TikTok with. TikTok can go fuck itself for so many other reasons, but one of the things that TikTok does for me routinely is puts clips of shows and movies that I would never have heard of or known about before in front of me, and I then check them out, and most of the time I'm very pleased. And that's where I found this one was on TikTok.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
I also watched Maxine. I don't have much to say about it. It was kind of good. I've watched all of those movies. That's like a trilogy, I guess. I've watched them all. They're all enjoyable to watch. I don't have that much else to say about it. They're kind of good.
I've seen it on my less than legal websites that I use to steal stuff from the internet.
We don't have to talk about that.
Well, sure we do. I don't care. I steal stuff from the internet. Fuck everybody.
All right. Well, that's where I get this stuff too. That's why I haven't watched Deadpool and Wolverine yet.
Yeah, I don't know when, because that's owned by Disney, so that should be streaming on Disney Plus in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I actually considered going to see it today. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to the theater and see it. I don't go to the movie theater that often, but I have for Marvel movies in the past.
I've seen so many clips from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that I feel like it's kind of ruined it for me. I mean, I
don't know. I think I'm going to like it and I want to see it, but I guess I'll just wait until I can get it the way you get it.
Stealing it from the internet. I watched last night the Nicolas Cage movie Longlegs, and I had no expectations for it. I didn't even really know what it was going to be about, but it makes Silence of the Lambs look like a fairy tale. It is deeply disturbing. It is unnerving, almost on the level of a movie that I'm going to refer to that I will never watch again, which is Hereditary. Hereditary scared the living shit out of me, and I won't watch it again. I won't watch Longlegs again either, but it was really good. It was really
okay.
good.
So Longlegs is on Amazon. There's also The Killer, which is new.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Sam Worthington. It's on Netflix. Or no, it's on Peacock. Oh, I have Peacock. I can watch that legally.
Speaking of Peacock, I just finished season 4 of Evil last night, it's a TV series. I think it was on Peacock. And I got really sucked into it. It was kind of, I don't know if you remember this TV series that was out in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, Fringe.
Hell, dude, I've watched Fringe like 3 or 4 times. This one,
yeah, this is like Fringe, but with a different set of 4 people as the main characters, and it has more to do with religious dogma and angels and demons, and it was really good. And I got to season 4, and I could tell they were building up to this finale, and they left a lot of holes, and I don't know that they're coming back for a season 5, but I was left feeling really sad that it was the end of what I had available to me to watch for that show, because I really got invested in the characters.
It's just called Evil.
It's called Evil, yeah, and it's got 4 seasons. Nobody that you would know. I think you might know he's either Pakistani or Indian. That actor, he's fairly recognizable. He's in it. There's a young, I say young, she's like 43. This Dutch woman who is probably going to be showing up in a lot more stuff, that is sort of the lead character. And she's an investigator that goes around with this group that's paid by the Catholic Church to go and investigate possessions. And
it's on Netflix if anybody is planning on watching it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. CBS Paramount. That's what the pre-roll is on that. It's CBS Paramount.
Oh, well, I have that too. I have Paramount Plus.
Yeah, that's where it comes from, I think.
Okay. It's definitely not on Peacock though. I just searched there.
Okay. Well, it's on my Plex. If you ever want a username and password to access my Plex library, it's
I can get my own Plex. I have my own Plex.
Oh, that's right. Fine. You do. That's how we became friends, was based on our love for stealing shit from the internet.
I know how to do that too.
Anyway, I strongly recommend. Oh, the other one that I'd been watching as at the same time I started watching Evil was a
dude. I'm not even kidding. I just opened Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And there's like a big thing that it advertises to you.
Yeah.
Evil.
Yeah. It's because they're listening to what we're saying. They really are. But there's another.
Have to scroll down to the things you've been watching lately and stuff. But nope. Evil was right at the top. The other TV was listening to me.
The other one is called From. And From is interesting because it's got 3 seasons. Season 4 has been teased. It's coming out. From is very much like that TV series that was out years ago called Lost. And when I say it's very much like Lost, it even has one of the characters from Lost who's in this show called From. And it's the storyline is so similar, but it has nothing to do with Lost, but it's constructed in much the same way. And I got sucked into it more than I thought I would. And I'm dying for season 4 to get started because I know it is coming. But yeah, that's my binging that I've been doing with TV. I also watched
From is on Epics.
yes.
Or you get it the way James and I do. However you want to do it.
Hell, if you DM me, I'll give you an account on my Plex library and you can watch.
I don't need it. I can
not
do it
you,
myself,
people who are listening, not you.
No, you don't want to do that. Don't you remember? I sent you a text about that.
I don't remember. Why? Why is
They're
why?
deactivating accounts if you share with too many people.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
I sent you a text about that or a DM or something. I told you somehow.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
do that.
I do remember that now. So yeah, don't bother me with requests for my Plex library. Go fuck yourself. Another movie that I watched recently was The Instigators with Casey Affleck and
I watched that too.
Matt Damon.
Yep, I watched that too. I thought it was good.
It was good for a while, and it sort of petered off in the end. It went on longer than it had to, but it held my attention. It was good.
I don't know. I liked it. It was a popcorn movie. I liked it. I watched something else too. What did I watch? Oh, I watched that the lottery or something. Shit, I forget what it's called. There's a movie where it takes place in the near future, where if you win the lottery, like if someone kills you within 24 hours, they get your money.
Not familiar with it.
It's a popcorn movie. Also, it's not that great, but it was it's Aquafina and the You Can't See Me guy from WWE.
Oh, okay.
John Cena.
Oh God.
John Cena and Aquafina. I like Aquafina.
Such a strange
and
name.
John Cena's okay.
Who names himself after bottled water? That's just so strange to me.
It's called. I'm looking at my Plex now to see what I've watched lately.
Fuck.
Oh, did you watch the new Beverly Hills cop movie?
I didn't even know there was one. So no,
I've watched only half. It's called Jackpot, by the way, the John Cena movie. But yeah, there's a new Beverly Hills cop movie, and I've watched half of it, and it was all right.
Eddie Murphy won't age.
No, but it has everybody else. It has Judge Reinhold and the other guy in it also. It's got Bronson Pinchot. It's got everybody.
So everybody from the original.
Yeah, so it's nostalgic. It's probably not a great movie. I only watched half of it, and I was high at the time, and I didn't finish it.
At the operations center that needs to be babied for something that you can't handle. So,
all right, I just got one more thing to say. I watched the name of the movie with John Cena and Aquafina is Jackpot. I do recommend it. I also watched The Union, which is Marky Mark and Halle Berry, action thriller, spy thriller. Don't really recommend it. It's all
Marky
right.
Mark without the funky bunch.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg, whatever his name is. He's always Marky Mark to me.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. All right, dude. Well, it's been fun. This was a good episode, I think.
I think so too. Sorry you have editing to do.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to y'all next week. Like, subscribe, comment,
share, subscribe, comment, critique,
leave us reviews if you're listening on the podcast apps.
Yep. All right, man. We'll see you next week.
Love each other.
Yes, sir.
This is a long one.